one of the original founding fathers of the modern cannabis reform movement from Heads and Hides head shop down in Venice and Van Nuys. And Ed and Jack had gotten together to write The Emperor Wears No Clothes. So Jack's initiative is, of course, we're the California Hemp Initiative, and those of us close to Jack pledged and promised to carry on his initiative until this thing were to make the ballot and win. We, I believe in 2008, started, was it 2008 or 9? A political, because I'm confused, like what year are we in? Is we started a political action committee to fund the initiative. So Buddy has been the chair or the treasurer of that PAC that Jack had us set up. Buddy's here now to really, talk about the twins of deception, MMRSA and the AUMA. The heart of the purpose of the meeting is so we can educate ourselves and then in turn strategize to reject this corporate takeover of cannabis. So without further ado, Buddy, thank you for coming. You and Michael, the driver and helper from Simi Valley, California. Thank you. I'll make sure they have the papers too.
Yeah. First of all, if they're going to follow along, I have 2 sets of papers right here. MMRSA and AUMA. We're going to start out with MMRSA because even though we're talking about AUMA and MMRSA are the same thing. They're intertwined. They're designed to work together. Like the previous speakers spoke about how MMRSA is totally unconstitutional. It's absurd on its face because it does all these things to Prop 215 that it really can't legally do because Prop 215 is a proposition and it can't be changed by the state legislature. But they went ahead and they put it together anyways because they knew that AUMA was coming. So that's the whole deal. What I'm going to try to do tonight is piece the 3 bills together and intertwine them with AUMA to show what the grand scheme of things is. The grand scheme of things is basically what's going to, the end result of this grand scheme is going to be the federal takeover of cannabis hemp in all of its forms. It's written right here in this bill. Okay, it's going to, the final result is medical marijuana will cease to exist. Marijuana will be recreational, only recreational. It will be governed by the federal government, probably under the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and marijuana bureau or whatever. That's what these 3 bills are intertwined. Sorry about that. Once intertwined and connected, that's what they demonstrate. That is the ultimate goal of this grand scheme. The medical cannabis is killing the pharmaceutical industry. They're losing billions of dollars. Every day there's stories of people who throw away 20 prescriptions because they found pot. It's killing them. They want to end that medical designation. This is how they do it. Okay, having said that, we're going to start with MMRSA. Now we're going to start with Senate Bill 643. Senate Bill 643, the main thing it does is it kills the note doctors. A doctor who right now can just, you can go to a doctor, you can tell them you have certain issues, medical issues, and cannabis alleviates those issues, and enough said, you can get a no. What 643 does, in combination with the other bills, is it makes that note a lot harder to get. It makes it where the doctors are going to be in fear for their lives to give out notes. In fear for their professions, I should say. Okay, so starting with 643, we have, if you guys are following along, section 2220.05. What this does It says it prioritizes the investigative and prosecutorial resources to identify and punish rogue doctors. A rogue doctor is defined as doctors who are not the primary attending physician, who have not performed a good faith prior examination, which is something sound bad, but it gets worse, and doctors who write excessive notes, note doctors. Okay, it penalizes them now under this new structure. It will penalize them with the same penalties that are currently applicable to doctors who write too many hydromorphone opioid prescriptions. So it's like big fines, loss of license. They tie the same scheme into cannabis. So if you're caught writing too many opioid prescriptions, you can lose your license or you're subject to all these incredible fines and sanctions. What this does is ties cannabis into that same structure of hard drugs.
On that point, I just searched that part. It doesn't say primary care physician. It does say
Attending physician, yeah.
And that's not, so it doesn't require the primary care physician.
Yeah.
Some people were under the impression it does.
You're right, yeah, an attending physician.
And that's not really any different than it is now. My understanding is.
Well, yeah, it is, yeah, basically, the attending physician is the note doctor right now.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but when these bills, what they're doing is they're adding definitions to what a good faith examination is, and and they're requiring the doctor evaluate a patient's prior history of possible drug abuse and things like that. Those requirements, which are in this bill, make it harder for you just to be an attending physician in the like you are right now with current note doctor, where, like I said, all it takes is you coming in with a valid reason to use cannabis medicinally and you get your note. So, yeah, as we go along, you will see that they add in some of these other bills, they're going to add extra restrictions to these provisions. And so the final result is doctors will only be able to write notes for seriously ill patients. Seriously ill patients, and they have, so that good faith examination is now a good faith examination as to, is this patient seriously ill? Also, as we go along, we'll see how they add the provision that requires the doctor to examine or to take into account whether their patient has a prior history of drug abuse. And if that's the case, then as you'll see as we go along, they will want that doctor to refer that patient to a specialist, just like they do currently now for people who may be opioid abusers. Okay, so anyways, getting back to it, right now it sounds not so bad, yeah. The attending physician, you're right. And also to prosecute doctors who write excessive notes. That is, the excessive notes is part of the language. So that's the note doctor. Anybody can say that they're referring to the note doctor. Okay, so we've covered that pretty much. Yeah, the 25.2, a physician shall not recommend medical cannabis to a patient, and that's that person is the patient's attending physician. And point 3, recommending medicinal cannabis without appropriate prior examination and a medical indication, which will later be defined as a serious medical indication, constitutes unprofessional conduct. Right now, as we go through this, they start out sounding kind of tame. But as we go along, as we get into like 266 and 243, the other two legs of this, we will see how they refer back to these. And they make them stronger, and make them tougher, and make them more onerous. So it's complicated, but I hope that to, Dennis,